This week, Shelby County Commissioners approved a plan to secure up to $125 million in short-term loans to help keep the county operating through the start of fiscal year 2027. During Monday's meeting, commissioners voted to authorize the request, which would help cover already approved expenses like employee payroll, public safety, and other county services. Now, under the plan, $25 million would come from an existing county debt service fund, while the remaining $100 million would come from an external bank loan. County documents warn that the government could run out of cash without the loan. The request now heads to the state of Tennessee, which must give final approval before the money can be issued. I'm going to go ahead and send it over to Sam right now. So this has to do also with covering costs until those property tax, the 2-cent increase kicks in. Is that correct?
Well, just until people pay their property taxes. The Shelby County property taxes are not due until December and February, depending on what. And so that is really the problem, is that the county over time has always had this issue of you have essentially flat expenses month by month. They're pretty similar every month if you look at what the county's spending, but they have very lumpy revenue. It comes in December, January, February. And so they've always been in this position where they're sort of drawing down the bank account and then they're flush for the rest of the year when they get all that money. However, when you don't have a fund balance, which is your rainy day fund, in our case it'd be a savings account. Right. When you've run that down and you don't have enough money to like pull it down, you then have to go take this loan. And so this reflects sort of, the county hasn't grown. Shelby County over the tenure of Lee Harris has not grown. It is a flat, and so we're seeing flat sales tax. We're seeing relatively flat property tax despite appreciation of values. And so all those things add up here. It's not just, quote, reckless spending. We can't really determine whether the spending is, quote, reckless. It's much more, does the new county commission and the new county mayor, whoever that is, figure out, do we make people pay their property taxes sooner so we don't have to borrow money in the future? Because interest expense is still interest expense. Right. We're paying Regions Bank, we the taxpayer, are going to pay for this loan.
And Elizabeth, so speaking of whoever the next county mayor is, John DeBerry, the Republican nominee, had a statement that he posted shortly after this happened. And part of it said, borrowing for long-term infrastructure that benefits future generations is one thing. Borrowing to keep the lights on is a warning sign that our county's finances are headed in the wrong direction. So I want to ask your thoughts on this about what a new leader will need to do to kind of smooth this out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to point fingers at a county mayor for being the problem for this, but ultimately it comes down to a lot of elected officials or commissioners as well. And so in that sense, obviously we need to vote Republican. But when it comes to that, I think, you know, ultimately we need to be looking at what we're spending. We need to be looking and reevaluating, you know, how many vacant buildings do we have that we're continuing to operate, and how many things are we putting into our communities that aren't showing and giving benefit to our communities of like residents that are paying these tax dollars. I mean, this is tax dollar money, and
no, you're fine.
Okay.
You're okay. I think your mic did kind of cut out. So, Catherine, we only have 90 seconds left anyway. So, Catherine, and you were making such a good point. Great job. No, you're fine. Catherine, last point on this, though. Mikkel Lowry is a commissioner, and a lot of people, I saw a post on Facebook that people were like, don't give more of the same. So do you think, you know, again, is he part of the problem, or can he fix the problem?
I believe that Commissioner Lowry, at the end of the day, he's an executive. He comes from a business world. And so you want to put an executive in place who understands budgets and who can execute budgets, but who can also learn how to pull back a little bit where it's needed in order to keep the government afloat, so that we're addressing the needs of the people, but we're also delivering the services that the people need to as well. So you put an executive in charge, you elect an executive, and you elect Mikkel Lowry.
Okay, look at that. Well, we will see that next week. So by the time of our next show, we will know who has won that seat. Sam, Catherine, and Elizabeth, thank you all so much for being here. This was a great conversation, and it gave a different perspective of what the young, politically astute minds are thinking in Shelby County. Thank you for watching ABC24 This Week. We hope you'll join us next week for ABC24 This Week.